people can sort of, trickle in as they come in, and that's fine if people aren't there for the introduction. But I just want to say welcome to everyone who's here. We're super excited and grateful that all of you tuned in today from all over at all points in your day. So my name is Sean Boyce, Program Associate with NOPC. And I've sort of like helped a little bit putting together this webinar, but our goal with this and our other webinars is for our partners to get together, share knowledge, ask questions, discuss ideas, and just get to learn and be inspired by all the great work that we all have done. And so today we are incredibly fortunate to get to talk to the 8 EarthEcho 2024 Ocean Ambassadors who've been doing amazing work on campaigns all across the country, from American Samoa, California, the Northern Mariana Islands, Guam, New England, New York, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico. Just, doing inspiring, incredible work to advance America the Beautiful, to advance ocean protection, and grow as people. And so hopefully you'll, get to hear about some amazing work that they've done, hear about their journey, some of the reflections on what they've learned, and then just take a moment to be inspired by the great work they've done and appreciate the value of really engaging those youth voices in the conservation movement. And just quickly, a few housekeeping items before I turn it over to the other Sean to get us started from EarthEcho's end. If we just ask that you stay on mute during the presentations, just to minimize background noise so we can focus on the presenters. And we have closed captions enabled for accessibility. You should be able to see that button at the bottom of your Zoom screen if that's something that's helpful for you. And then just sort of when it comes to the Q&A at the end, we're recording this first part for the presentations. We'll share that out upon request to any of the partners who are registered and couldn't make it today. But just be aware that even though we're not recording the Q&A at the end, anything you're sharing here is sort of being shared with everyone on the call. It's a really great trusted group, but also just, just make sure you're aware of that. And then we'd love to have questions, get a chance for you to sort of interact with the Ocean Ambassadors and sort of like ask the questions that you really want to have. So if you either ask those in the chat or save them from the end and raise your hand, come off mute and turn it into kind of a discussion will be great. And then, of course, the most important thing is do what you need, take care of yourself. Get up, stretch, get water, eat something, whatever it takes. It's, we're going to be sitting in front of a screen for an hour, and even though it's great stories, it's still sitting in front of a screen. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. And with that, I'll turn it over to the other Sean, to sort of lead into some of this incredible work that we're going to be hearing about today.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Sean. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining us and taking some time out of your schedule to be part of this session and conversation and to celebrate the work of our ocean protection ambassadors. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen quickly, so we'll have our slides up for the full session. But with that, I want to say again a big welcome and echo Sean's comments. We're so grateful to have you all here today. And I want to kick things off, setting the stage a little bit with some context on our work at EarthEcho International and the Ambassador Program, then turn it over to the incredible young people who are here today to share some of their stories and experiences. So just for a bit of background, again, my name is Sean Russell. I'm the Director of Youth Engagement at EarthEcho International. And EarthEcho is a nonprofit that's focused on building a global youth movement to protect and restore our ocean planet. So all of our core programs are designed to build the capacity of young ocean advocates directly, as well as support the teachers, educators, community mentors that work with young people around the world. And for us, when we think about all of our collective work in the space around marine protected areas and ocean advocacy, we really see youth voice as central to this work. We recognize that young people bring an incredible influence and an expertise on building both the public and political support needed and momentum needed to move these priorities forward, having just a strong degree of influence over their friends, their family, their communities, and certainly elected officials and government officials as well. We also look to young people and recognize they bring the sense of urgency to this work, understanding they'll live with the consequences of our actions or inactions on these issues, and as a result, bring new and creative ideas and a strong focus on solutions to the table. And for us, we also really want to emphasize that we see youth engagement as critical to the long-term sustainability of the work that we're all driving collectively as a coalition. We really see young people as critical to being involved in this work at an early age. They can stay with that and be involved in driving this work forward throughout their lives to ensure the durability of these efforts over the long term. And so for us, over the last several years at EarthEcho International, our Youth Leadership Council, our global community of young ocean advocates, have worked to really accelerate momentum around the goal of protecting at least 30% of the ocean by the year 2030 and really expanding and enhancing marine protected areas. That's what brought us to NRPC and, of course, this incredible community and coalition of partners. And we see that come to life through education, through advocacy, and even direct coastal restoration work. And what that's looked like is, young people in communities around the world and across the US leading impactful community presentations, conferences, forums, discussions, and events to engage their peers and community members in dialogues and learning about the importance of marine protected areas. We've been able to support direct local coastal habitat restoration projects to connect young people directly to the power of ocean-based climate solutions and marine protected areas. And aligning with the work we'll talk about today, we've worked to support young people directly engaging in policy and advocacy work at really some of the highest levels to help advance and enhance marine protected areas in their communities. And that's where the work with our ocean protection ambassadors really falls in. And we are so grateful and thrilled to have the chance to work with NRPC and so many of you to bring this program to life over the last couple of years with our US-based cohorts and model. This program is now our second US-based cohort. It builds on our previous class of ambassadors by expanding the number of participants, expanding the length of time of the program, and also adding some unique in-person elements that I'll touch on in just a minute. This year's group, as Sean mentioned, brought together 8 incredible young leaders from Puerto Rico, New York, Maine, California, Hawaii, Guam, Saipan, and American Samoa, and really equipped young people with campaign planning training and support and guidance from our team at EarthEcho International, as well as support and subject matter expertise and really policy intel from NRPC and an amazing network of local community partners. And all of our ambassadors were really united with this goal of leading creative campaigns and work to expand and enhance marine protected areas on the ground in their community, complementing the existing efforts of this incredible network of partners driving this work forward. So again, so grateful to NRPC for supporting and championing this work at the highest levels, but also to the Conservation Law Foundation, Friends of the Mariana Trench, Northern Chumash Tribal Council, Surfrider Foundation, Surfrider Puerto Rico, and the Wildlife Conservation Society's New York Aquarium. And a big shout out to all of you who are on this call today for being here and supporting this work as we celebrate this impact. And so with that, we were thrilled to launch this year's program earlier in the spring through an application process and bring together this group in late March for their first kind of virtual conversations and kickoff to outline the program expectations to help ensure ambassadors were meeting with those local community partners and getting briefed on the topics and priorities and needs for marine protected areas in their region. And then ultimately working with our team to build out the process of planning their own campaign to complement those efforts. And so this work started initially virtually, but one of the exciting opportunities that we had this year for the first time was the chance to bring this full cohort together in person at Capitol Hill Ocean Week. And for us, this was an amazing opportunity to provide peer-to-peer learning and professional development opportunities across the cohort of ambassadors to ensure ambassadors were directly engaged in the broader ocean conservation community in the United States, and also had the chance to really elevate and uplift their priorities, their campaigns, alongside and with key government decision makers. And so for this in-person experience, I did want to share just a few highlights, and we'll dive into the campaign. But we were thrilled to kick this off with our first Capitol Hill Ocean Week youth advocacy training, alongside partners like the Ocean Project and Big Blue and You and Sustainable Ocean Alliance. We brought together over 60 incredible young people and their adult mentors to essentially pregame their time at Capitol Hill Ocean Week, to have a chance to network and learn from each other, to share their own campaign priorities, like the work our ambassadors were leading, and a chance to take part in workshops to prep and ensure they had the skills and resources and background to feel really confident and effective going into advocacy meetings later in the week. We were so thrilled to see our ambassadors dive right into that on the Capitol Hill Ocean Week Hill Day, having worked with us in advance to reach out to their congressional delegations, and ultimately met with 10 congressional delegations on site to help, again, uplift their campaign work and the MPA priorities from their local regions. These meetings and advocacy work continued into kind of Capitol Hill Ocean Week proper, with conversations with senior leadership officials at the White House Council on Environmental Quality, NOAA, as well as the Office of National Marine Sanctuaries, and have led to continued conversations about youth engagement across this work. We were thrilled, and thanks to some incredible partners, some on this call, some in the NRPC community, to really ensure that the young people in these programs in the ambassador program had an opportunity to elevate their voices and join the conversation on kind of the main stages at Chow and at Upwell, helping to uplift youth priorities and perspectives across the week. And we're really excited to close out the week with our ambassadors joining NOAA Administrator Dr. Rick Spinrad and the NOAA leadership team to sign a 5-year partnership agreement between EarthEcho and NOAA focused on exactly this work, really building new and enhanced pathways for young people to play a meaningful role in advancing ocean policy across the U.S. And so with that, it was an exciting opportunity to build from this week and have our ambassador team go back to their communities and really get, put their heads down on campaign implementation to build on the lessons learned in the advocacy work from Chow. And with that, I'm really thrilled to turn it over to the stars of the show, our incredible ambassadors who are going to share a little bit of their campaign highlights and work over the next few minutes with you all. So I will pass it over to Leslie, who will get us started to kick things off.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leslie Ann. I am 19 years old, and I am a sophomore at Brooklyn College under the Macaulay Honors Program. I was born in Puerto Rico, but raised in New York, which I'm very thankful for. From a young age, I have always enjoyed talking about marine animals and being around them by going to aquariums. And so when I was 14 years old, a freshman in high school, I volunteered at my local aquarium, which is the New York Aquarium under WCS, the Wildlife Conservation Society. Through this volunteering, I started to learn more about environmental advocacy and ocean advocacy. And I started just getting more into it by interning and working there. And now I have learned about the magnificent Hudson Canyon, which we are trying to designate into this current period. We started in 2016. And now we are continuing into hopefully our last public comment. And to the next slide, I'm going to talk to you more about what the Hudson Canyon is. So the Hudson Canyon is 100 miles off the coast of Coney Island, and it stands as a 10,000-year-old canyon that houses hundreds of species right off our New York waters, including sharks, rays, turtles, and more. When I speak to people about the canyon, the way that I describe it for its grandeur is that it's the Grand Canyon size underwater. So in 2016, when the New York Aquarium and the Wildlife Conservation Society came together to designate it as a national marine sanctuary, we are still very much in the process. And hopefully, as I said before, getting into public comment now in 2024. As an ambassador and an ocean protection ambassador, I wanted to use this public comment period to create awareness, not only public, but local awareness about the Hudson Canyon and how we can make it grow. So for my campaign, I made a plan to, next slide. My campaign was to work with the local aquarium and work in their summer camp program. I focused on the shark camp group, which is 6th to 8th graders. And what we did was we created a role-playing game that taught them about the Sanctuary Advisory Council and its role in the National Marine Sanctuary designation process. The campers were able to each play a consecutive role, whether that be a commercial fisherman, a conservationist, or even an educator. This allowed the campers to see different perspectives in the Sanctuary Advisory Council and show how there may be issues with every single perspective, but we can all come together to create a solution. Within the camp group itself, it was 12 kids. And the total amount of people, once we did the campaign with social media and other local engagement, was around 200. From this campaign, I learned the importance of youth voices, not only like myself and my peers, but also even younger voices that are learning about and engaging in this process for Hudson Canyon, and just taking more positive strides in my community and learning how people in my own home want to learn more about the ocean around them. And so for the next slide, my next steps for this project to gain even more public awareness is to hopefully create a video that will be launched on a massive media platform, which would be Times Square, hopefully. So I'm in the process of creating a video now to be launched on social media platforms, just telling not only my ocean story, but to hear from others. And as I'm preparing this video, I will be updating Sean and updating everybody else just so that they can follow along. And hopefully everybody at the end of the day will learn about Hudson Canyon, and we can help make sure that it is designated as a national marine sanctuary. Thank you.
Okay, Leslie, and thanks so much for sharing and walking us through this process and your work. So we will keep on rolling. I'm going to jump in next and share a few highlights. Unfortunately, Ella was having some connectivity issues today and couldn't join us live, but I'll happily touch on a few of her updates from the great work she's been doing on the ground in Guam. And so Ella has been working to build community awareness and engagement around the Marianas Trench Marine National Monument, but also strong relationships with youth in the community to be champions for their local marine protected areas on the ground in Guam and the region, but also the broader marine national monuments across the Pacific. And so working with local students, she channeled this passion for art and community engagement into creating a 30 by 30 marine protected area focused bus stop mural project. And so in Guam, you'll see these incredible community murals and bus stops at sites across the island. And so Ella was able to reach out to high school students in the region, connect with local on-the-ground conservation partner organizations to develop this design, this mural, and work with the local mayor's office and community to receive permission to create this art installation in the community. Ultimately, she was able to engage this core group of young people in helping to bring this project to life, and also educate them on the importance of being avid champions and vocal spokespeople for marine protected areas in their local communities. And you can see just on the screen a few of the numbers of how this mural continues to engage, or actually really just started to engage young people that use the bus stops and system in Guam throughout the year. And continuing to see just great community engagement on this project, as well as interest in really highlighting the work through the local partner organizations that she worked with. So you'll continue to see, this just came to life in the last month or so, you'll continue to see great photos and content and highlights rolling out if you follow along for updates on our social media channels and accounts as well. So big thanks to Ella and also the incredible partners she's been able to engage and bring in on the ground in Guam to bring this to life. And with that, I will toss it over to Lucia to bounce out of the Pacific a little bit and head over to Hawaii to share some of her updates on her campaign work.
Hi, my name is Lucia. I'm from Maui, Hawaii, and I am currently studying biology as a freshman at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Living in Hawaii for like the past 6 years made me feel really connected to the ocean. And I spent a lot of time at my local aquarium, volunteering and working to rescue and rehabilitate wildlife like sea turtles. And this experience motivated me to apply as an ocean protection ambassador. So for my project, I work to educate youth and the general public about marine protected areas and 30 by 30, specifically in the Pacific. And priorities to advance ocean protection in the Pacific include designating national marine sanctuaries in the Pacific remote islands and Papahanaumokuakea. Both of these places are currently marine national monuments, but they are proposed national marine sanctuaries. So yeah. Thanks. So for my project, I collaborated with the Maui Ocean Center Marine Institute to engage 10 summer groups throughout July, which included youth ages from 12 to 20, and they're from 19 different states. And we worked to create statements and art pieces that support protecting 30% of the ocean by 2030. And these students came from a variety of local organizations and also Travel for Teens. So there was it was a very diverse group of students. And before we did these activities, I gave 20-minute presentations to each group about the 30 by 30 campaign and ocean protection. And at the end of this project, I collected 137 ocean-related paintings on 4x4 canvases and over 100 statements that support advancing ocean protection. And I also held 3 presentations open to the general public at the Maui Ocean Center. And then I also created a website to display the youth-created statements and art pieces regarding ocean protection. So for my next steps, I'm working on sending the website that I created to community members and stakeholders to showcase all the work that youth are doing to advance ocean protection and advocate for advancing ocean protection and to elevate youth voices. And for my main takeaways, I've learned that most youth are interested in learning about ocean protection regardless of residence, no matter like where the students were, like where they were from, even if they weren't from coastal areas, they seemed very interested and engaged with topics about ocean protection. And I've also learned that event planning requires a high degree of public outreach, as for my public presentations, it had a slightly smaller turnout, but overall, I'd say I'm satisfied with what I have achieved with this project, and I think I achieved my original goals. So, yeah.
Great, Lucia. Thanks so much for sharing. And again, love seeing also in some of these instances how you all have worked to do this deep work on the ground and community, but also connect it back to some of the decision makers and government officials that you've engaged with throughout the journey as well. So thanks so much for sharing. And I will pass it to Josephine to jump in next.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Josephine Satele, and I'm the representative from American Samoa. A little bit about myself, I didn't add it on there, but I was originally from Georgia, born and raised from Georgia, and I came to Samoa, and then I started working for the National Marine Sanctuary there, which kind of inspired me to pick this marine sanctuary, Whangatele Bay. And my priorities for my campaign were to make it more accessible and to create something to share information with locals, because it's a little bit different in Samoa, but since it's a national marine sanctuary, it's only protecting the waters, not necessarily what's that the way that you access it. So I wanted to give information to share with people on how to access and who to call. Can you go to the next slide, please? So for my campaign, I created a website to share information of how to visit safely and who to contact for more information, because it is not a public land. It is a family-owned land, and you have to go through their property to access the water. Basically, the website is the top picture there. You can see I created services, about us, safety guides, and maps, ways to contact, and that's me working on the pictures and cleaning the trails. So I feel like my impact was pretty good. I was able to connect with local families and with the National Marine Sanctuary to have a better relationship and a better way of contacting each other. And my future plans for it is to keep it up and to keep accessing it. I shared it with the family, and they also have access to everything that's on there. We had a few bookings through it already to show like time slots and everything going through. And I think for my future plans, I want to create other sites for different protected areas, or to add additional sites onto the website, because this is the only one with information or maps or guides on how to get there and to do things with the family. But that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Josephine, so much for sharing. And again, love seeing just the creativity that you brought to this particular work, and not just the, again, kind of growth of marine protected areas, but also the enhancement of existing areas and the access piece that you brought to this work as well. So thank you so much for sharing, and we will keep rolling here right now and pass it over to Wilson to jump in next. Wilson, go for it.
Hi everyone, my name is Wilson and I am from Portland, Maine. And I went to Wellesley College and studied environmental studies, but during my time there, I also participated in an ocean and coastal studies program called Williams Mystic, which got me very excited about all things marine, but specifically marine conservation. And so after graduating from Wellesley, I decided to pursue some marine related seasonal jobs and internships. So I went to Alaska. I got to do a great internship with the Ocean Conservancy and the Center for Coastal Studies in Provincetown, Massachusetts. And this past summer, spent my time in Bellingham, Washington, working at one of the Ocean Conservancy offices out there. So for this campaign, and these pictures of me here are my internship with the Center for Coastal Studies, doing ghost gear related field work off of Cape Cod this spring. So when I became an ocean protection ambassador, you can go on to the next slide, Sean. Thanks. I was paired with Conservation Law Foundation, and I saw that Chloe and Priscilla were both here. So hello to you both. Thank you for coming. And I was paired with Conservation Law Foundation, and I learned about Cassius Ledge for the first time, which is an underwater mountain range located around 80 miles off the coast of Portland, Maine. I had never heard of it. Apparently, they did a survey at one point, and only 6% of New Englanders had ever heard of Cassius Ledge before. But it is incredibly special and biodiverse region of the Gulf of Maine that is home to many extremely important species, both because they are endangered or rare, or for economic purposes, and also are home to some of the most robust kelp forests on the eastern seaboard. So a very incredibly important and beautiful place. And so Conservation Law Foundation was at the beginning part of their nomination for Cassius Ledge to become a national marine sanctuary. And so my task was to engage the public and specifically youth around this process and gain support for the nomination as they started to compile all their material to submit to NOAA. So you can go on to the next slide. Thanks, Sean. So for my campaign, I had an interesting situation where I was currently living on the West Coast and working on conservation efforts on the East Coast. And so a lot of the work that I was doing had to be a little bit more focused in the virtual realm. And so I created a youth sign-on letter that could be included in CLF's nomination, and was able to, through social media channels and through other partner organizations and personal connections that I had with other youth in the marine conservation space, was able to get over 100 youth sign-ons and youth supporting organization sign-ons to this letter that was ended up being submitted in the nomination, and then also wrote my own personal letter that described my background and growing up in New England and why marine protected areas and ocean conservation more broadly is important to young people and our future. And then during this time, I also started working with Ashira Morris, who was working with NOPC at the time on communications, and I wrote an op-ed, which is still in the process of being submitted to different outlets to be published. But the op-ed is about my experience of Cassius Ledge as someone who's never actually been there, through working in the White Mountain National Forest in New Hampshire, and also working in the Gulf of Maine this spring, doing ghost gear related work, and kind of tying in how different types of conservation all come together and are all connected, even if it doesn't seem apparent right from the beginning. And then I also created a toolkit for student groups to host their own Cassius Ledge event, where they can watch the PBS special about Cassius Ledge that recently aired in July, I believe. And so that will continue to take form and be pushed out to different youth groups this fall, which I'm really excited about. And then general reflections, I am so incredibly grateful to have gotten to work with EarthEcho. It is a very incredible feeling to be so supported in these efforts. It is hard enough working on environmental initiatives as a young person, and so to have just a team of like really truly dedicated people supporting you is just very meaningful to me. And I feel like I created really strong relationships with people at NOPC and CLF and EarthEcho, and I'm just extremely grateful. And as I continue to move forward in this world, I'm glad to know I have some allies in all of these different organizations. So thank you all.
Great, thanks so much for sharing that and sharing that last reflection to us. And we echo that and appreciate that so much. And I think for our viewers too, I hope as we kind of bounce around these campaigns, you see how grateful we are to the incredible partners that have regionally supported this work, because we have young people who've engaged at really all stages of work in established and protected areas, whether that be at the final push over the finish line to, places like Castle's Ledge that are early in their process, and grateful to folks like CLF for bringing young people on early in that process to help support this work. So thanks so much, Wilson, for sharing. And with that, we will jump to the other end of the spectrum of that when it comes to protected areas on the end of the designation channel and process with Aiden, who will share some of his work out in California. So Aiden, I will turn it over to you.
Hi guys, my name is Aiden. I'm a California-based youth climate activist, and I recently graduated from college with a degree in environmental science, and then I had a minor in Indigenous studies. This EarthEcho Ocean Protection Ambassador program came at like the perfect time for me. I just finished up college, I had some extra time, and I wanted to put it towards working on something with my community. And after being afforded this position, I saw that it perfectly combined both of my interests, working with the ocean and working with the Indigenous nations. Next slide, please. Thanks to NWC, I got partnered with our friends at the Northern Chumash Tribal Council, who were directly at the cusp of finalizing and achieving over a decade's worth of hard work. I'm sure you guys have all seen the many announcements at this point, but as of last Friday, October 11th, the NOAA and the Biden-Harris administration officially designated the Chumash Heritage Marine Sanctuary, making it the third largest marine sanctuary in the United States. It is the first to be managed by an Indigenous nation, and it will nearly double the amount of coastline protected in California. Back in April, at the commencement of this fellowship, me and Sean met some folks from the Northern Chumash Tribal Council and discussed where I could fit in to this work so close to the official designation. Because at this point, signatures, public outreach, that wasn't necessary anymore. However, education was and still is always essential. We want to find some way to further what people knew about the Chumash tribes and the Chumash Heritage Marine Sanctuary. And the project was born. We created a week-long curriculum for late elementary school students, complete with activities, slideshows, a student workbook, and more. And I want to briefly cover one of these activities with you. If you can go to the next slide, please. So here I have a very scientific pair of field goggles, definitely not made of origami. And so we have the students make these on one of the days of the curriculum to convey the concept of two-eyed seeing. Two-eyed seeing refers to learning to see from both eyes, one with the strengths of Indigenous knowledge and their way of knowing, and the other with the strengths of Western knowledge and that way of knowing, and learning to use both of these eyes together, like braiding two strings together to make one that's extra strong. So we have the students wear these goggles and they get to take a little field trip around their campus, and they cover one eye and they get to look through the way of Indigenous seeing. They get to see the interconnectedness of everything, ocean, land, and us. Just like how the Chumash people have lived. They live in harmony with the water for thousands of years, treating the ocean as a living entity that's to be respected. And then they cover the other eye and they're going to see the Western worldview, and that sees things much smaller and misses the interconnectedness. However, it's also led to some incredible scientific discovery over the ages. And then together, both of these perspectives allow us to see things holistically, and combined, you get a way better worldview that allows you to solve problems in a lot better of a way. Next slide, please. Here I have a couple images from the slides for the curriculum for students. I wanted to keep the design really lighthearted, but with a lot of visual interest to keep the students engaged. And we use these slides at the beginning of every day of the curriculum to cover topics on food webs, anthropogenic impacts on the ocean, and so much more. Next slide. Here I have some images from the workbooks, and so students get to use these throughout the curriculum, allowing the students to take notes on like what's being covered for that day, but also it has really engaging activities that promote further learning, taking a deep dive into the anthropogenic impacts of the ocean, of like where your shirt is made. So have students take a look like, oh, their shirt's made in China. How did that shirt get to the United States, you know? And then next slide. And the final steps for this project are just to implement some workshops with local teachers, to then take the curriculum and get it implemented into classrooms. Over the next couple of months, we're going to host a couple of these, and we're aiming to have these curriculums put into schools for the next school year. I just want to say thank you to everyone on this call, everyone at NOPC, EarthEcho, for making this opportunity possible. We could not have done this without you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, and thanks so much for sharing this and all your hard work on it. We really, really appreciate it. And so with that, we will keep moving on. We're going to cue up actually a video real quick from Shania, who is our incredible ocean protection ambassador from Puerto Rico, who is right in the midst of a college class right now. So we will tee that up and hear her remarks through the recording.
Hi guys. I'm sorry I couldn't be present today, but this is my recording. So, hi guys. My name is Shania Baker. I was born and raised in the coastal town of Isabela, Puerto Rico, where my love for the ocean began. From a young age, I've been passionate about marine conservation and environmental protection. This commitment grew even stronger as I pursued my studies in chemistry in the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez. My involvement with organizations like EarthEcho and Surfrider, where I actually serve as vice president of the Surfrider UPRM chapter in it's like our local college, has given me the opportunity to play an active role in preserving Puerto Rico's natural beauty, especially Aguadilla Bay. Now, as an ocean protection ambassador, I use my voice and leadership to raise awareness about the importance of protecting coastal ecosystems for future generations. So, for my next slide, where I talk about my designated area for my campaign project, we have Aguadilla Bay, which is my designated area. It's located on Puerto Rico's northwest coast, and it is also an ecological haven for diverse marine life and fragile ecosystems. This region encompasses about over 70 species of fish and 34 species of birds and incredible marine species such as the humpback whale and the brown pelican, which actually I do like to highlight that the humpback whale is an endangered species. It's a low risk endangered species, but it's still endangered. And it's actually one of the most present species we have over like in spring pass through like the north part of our island, and they go through Aguadilla Bay. So historically, this was a fishing hub, but now it plays a vital role in conservation efforts. Local groups and global initiatives like EarthEcho and Surfrider are working to protect the bay's biodiversity with public youth involvement being key to preserving its natural beauty for future generations. So, for my campaign project and its impact, I organized an event for the community at a local restaurant called Arte en Aguadilla. This event was organized and designed to teach participants about the importance of protecting Aguadilla Bay and also to encourage them to take further actions to create a protected area here in this bay. We brought together local artists, conservationists, and families for an immersive experience. The attendees, including young people from various regions, took part in interactive conversations. Sorry, I keep getting those words mixed up. Where they explored the significance of marine conservation and its impact on their community. These conversations highlighted how different perspectives from conservationists to local residents can come together to advocate for the protection of the bay. It was a fun and educational day that emphasized the importance of working together to preserve our oceans. Now, for my next steps and takeaways after this campaign, I do still want to continue raising awareness about the importance of protecting Aguadilla Bay. So my next plan is to create an episode series featuring interviews and conversations with local community organization leaders on our student chapter social medias. So basically, these episodes will highlight their work and the vital role that the Bay plays in our region. By sharing these insights, I hope to encourage more people into the conservation and encourage further action towards conservation efforts. I will be sharing updates soon, so stay tuned for more information on when and where.
It doesn't look like you have an app named Soon. If you'd like, I can help you look for it on the App Store.
That was Siri. I will be sharing updates soon, so stay tuned for more information on when and where the episodes will be released. Thank you for your continued support. I'm out. Love you guys.
A big thanks to Shania for all her incredible work, and also I think we planted that Siri interruption just to make it feel even more live for folks watching the recording. But big thanks to Shania and the Surfrider Puerto Rico team for all the incredible collaboration and work there. And let's see if we can.
Hi guys.
Hold on.
Hi
We're
guys.
gonna jump to our final slide and turn it over to Emma to share a little bit more about her work in Saipan. So Emma, I will pass it to you. Take it away.
Hafide, Tiro, and Mabuhay. My name is Emma Chong, and I was born and raised on the beautiful island of Saipan. I'm currently attending Northern Mariana College and pursuing a degree in natural resources management. My apologies in advance if I come off a little rambly. It's quite early this morning. But through being an ambassador with EarthEcho, oh wait, before I get ahead of myself, I don't have much background in volunteering or the sciencey side of ocean conservation, but I do have a more cultural side of it, as I have a big background in our canoe paddling and a lot of other cultural things like weaving and stuff. And through this program, I have also been connected locally, but I would get into that in a little bit. But through the Ocean Protection Ambassador Program, I chose to jump in feet first and produce a short film documentary implementing interviews with people who have been long involved in ocean conservation within my community. Originally, the main goal was to have mostly elders within my community be interviewed, but we do run on island time here, and this was a very busy summer. And sadly, it was hard to get in contact with a lot of people, and a lot of people were also off island. So in total, I was only able to gather 3 interviews with people who are fairly young. And another, not issue per se, that I ran into, but another big thing I noticed, that basing my questions off the 30 by 30 initiative and being very specific with it wouldn't really have gotten me far, as I realized the education within my community about our protected areas and the Marianas Trench National Marine Monument was very restricted or not there, period. So I chose to focus more broadly on ocean protection pertaining to the indigenous cultures here in the CNMI, and having been connected with local agencies and groups like the Northern Marianas Humanities Council, I hope to continue with these documentaries and bring in more people. So Sean, if you could please go to the next slide. Since with the short time frame of this program and working with everyone's schedules, I was only able to gather 3 interviews. I have displayed 2 pictures from 2 interviews. This first picture with the man on the left, Maku, this is on his family's land in Asterlahi. And the second picture with Miss Kenelis is at a well-known site, the Santa Lourdes Shrine, that has one of the only public access freshwater wells. So this project has changed a lot. As I started it, I kind of jumped in feet first, not knowing anything about filmmaking or interviewing people, and it has taught me a lot. So revising a lot of things, I focused a lot of the questions on more broadly how our culture intertwines with ocean conservation to promote the local perspective and wanting people to get involved, because we actively participate in a lot of it. I'm so sorry if you can hear something in the background. I have a lot of family here, but I lost my train of thought. I wanted to promote local people in ocean conservation because we do it a lot in our daily lives. I do it every time I paddle in a canoe. A lot of people do it while they go fishing for their family. And sadly, I have no data to show everybody. I have not done my showing yet, as my documentary has just finally made it through the editing process. Next month, we will do a showing at American Memorial Park, hopefully to engage a lot of youth. I hope to work collaboratively with the Humanities Council, the Northern Marianas College, and the agency I was connected to, the Friends of the Marianas Trench. And through the Humanities Council, I hope to continue this documentary series. And that's kind of it for now. Stay tuned for everything more I have coming. It has hit a very busy time in my life, and I really hope to continue this work. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity in my community, because not only has it felt like I have done my role in serving my community, but it has been able to connect me within my community to do even more. So thank you, everybody, and I hope that covers it.
Thank you so much, Emma. Thanks for sharing just your stories and passions for this work. And also, I think you made such a great point of we always hope this program gives people the opportunity to try new things and to build new skills across the advocacy work you're driving. So grateful to you and the entire ambassador team for as you said, kind of jumping in with both feet across the board on new experiences and new styles of working, and really using this opportunity to take advantage of building those skill sets. So with that, I've dropped a few of our ways you can continue to stay in touch and follow along with the ambassador's work as it continues to, as you heard, this work is ongoing in so many ways. And while our official cohort has wrapped up, we're so eager to continue to support all of the kind of next steps that you heard from this group as they continue to champion this work in their communities. But with that, I want to open it up and take a few minutes if there's any questions that folks have who are tuning in. Happy to take those. Thank you so much, Priscilla, for your lovely comment in the chat on the support of this